We have a great lineup tonight. We've got a keynote speaker, hotshot speaker, and then the panel is going to, the board of, our board is going to get up and answer some questions for you too, and we'll be, be thinking about some things that you've been wanting some answers for that we might be able to help you with there also. Speaking of that, I would like to introduce our board. We really have a great board here, and we are constantly trying to think of new ways and new things that we can do to help you out and make our meetings better and better and better. So if at any time during the meetings you think of something that you would like to see changed or improved or anything like that, please let us know, because we listen and try to do what you're wanting, because this is your organization. That being said, I'm going to start out here with Kurt. Kurt McMillan is on the board. We've got Kurt Straub. I'll just go by the first names. Then we got Lloyd, works with our finances. We've got Garrett. Garrett is one of our speakers. We're going to introduce ourselves again later on, but I just want you to see who the board is. Is anybody? Okay, we've got two more here. We got Tracy and Warren. And as I go through the line, we've got towards the back, we've got Kurt McMillan, who is the president, Bob Colston. We've got Rich, and then we got Sean here, who is the CEO, and I'm the vice president. So with that, thank you again for coming, and I'm going to let Sean take over.
All right, how's everybody doing? Hopefully well. Okay. The whole focus of Inventor Center of Kansas City, if you have not been here before, and even if you have, just kind of serve as a reminder, lots of people have a kind of creative bent or a creative portion of their life, and whether they're at it, if they're young or old, they get to a point, they say, boy, this might be such a great idea or such a great invention. Boy, I'd sure like to have a business around it, a small business, or build a company around it. But here's the challenge. Being brilliant, or even being average, but just coming up with a brilliant idea, having a great gadget, gizmo / invention, and figuring out how to take that profitably to market have nothing whatsoever to do with each other. Agreed? Okay. Marketing, distribution, branding has nothing to do with the creative side of things. And lots of people that are creatively minded operate on that side. The career paths, lots of times they have chosen, for sure have nothing to do with sales and distribution and communication and things like that. So the entire focus of the Inventor Center of Kansas City is to bring professionals together, have us in a position where we can provide coaching and guidance in a free environment to help you wherever you are in the stage. Right now, I said, I don't even have the gadget, I just have the thought. But I've had it for 20 years, and I want to manifest, I want to create it, turn it into physical reality, and then build a business around it. Or if you're already at 100,000 unit sales per year, and you say, I want to take it to 1 million, what is my next step? We can help you with that as well. All right? So our promise and our commitment to you is, if you're going to invest your time with us, you're going to leave here more knowledgeable and just a little bit more educated and better prepared to make all of that a reality. Okay, so we're going to try to give you a ton of information in a very short period of time. Keep it on a tight schedule. Our intention is to be done at 8 o'clock and get you on to other business or down to Classic Cup, which we always meet afterwards and do a little talking down there. Okay, so our first speaker this evening is Robin Westland, and he's going to provide us some guidance and counsel. He's one of our hotshot speakers, so a very, very brief presentation, then followed up by Q&A on how to use social media and online sales, eBay, formats like that where you can create some sales and start to get a track record and actually kind of validate your product and say, does anybody actually want this? Does somebody else other than me think it's cool? And the test for that is somebody writing you a check? That's what I mean. Your friends always say, oh, that's cool. Really? Write me a check. No, I don't want one. So how do you find out and validate, and how do you actually bring that and use that marketing, which is so affordable, cost-effective for all of us? But again, it's a tool and a skill that you need to learn. So let's hear what Robin has to say. Come on up, Robin. Give him a hand.
As he said, my name's Robin Westland. I manufacture a pet care product. I have since 1995. And when I first came out with it, it just took off, gangbusters. I was in every state in the union within like 10 months. and it just started growing and growing. So I hired people to make it, I hired people to sell it, and I went to the lake. Unfortunately, in about 2006, 2007, whenever the big crash came, just prior to that, somebody took my idea over to communist China, had them rip it off. So I almost instantly went from 3,000 customers throughout the country to about 12 or 13. So my sales really plummeted. And that with the bad economy. So I was kind of faced with, I didn't want to go back and get another job. My God, that's sacrilege. So I had to figure out a way to make some more money. And about 4 or 5 years prior to that, I had started a couple of my products on eBay. And I just got so fed up with PayPal that I gave it to a friend of mine. And she was working it, and she was buying product from me. But then when times got tough, I bought it back from her, and it was doing about, I think, $500–600 a month, no big deal. Now we're doing about $6,000 a month. But what I decided to do was not only have the pet products I had, but I thought, okay, now's when I can have some fun. I'm old, just as well have some fun. So I just started creating a bunch of products, and the beauty of the internet is, well, when I came up with the pet care product, I had to literally, what I did literally was to get a mailing list of all the pet shops in the United States. And I would call them first to see if they carry birdcage products. And if they do, then I would click that on the computer. At the end of the night, it would spit out all the ones that do carry bird products, pardon me. And then I would send them out a sample rather of my product. And then the computer would tell me 10 days later to call them, and I'd call them, you know, hi, this is Robin with LP Distributing, blah, blah, blah. And so that's how I got into the stores. And that was a very good seller. I sold over 1 million of them. But not all ideas are that good. Some are a lot better, but not all the ones I've had are even close to that. The problem with it, when you have mediocre sellers, is you're trying to talk this retailer into putting 10 of these items on one of his shelves. More and more, even more than 20 years ago, that shelf space is very, very valuable for him or her. So if he's got 10 of them and he only sells one a year, that's a horrible turnaround. He's going to say, no, I'm not interested, and kick you out. But the beauty of it on the internet is I can keep 10 of those products in my warehouse, sell them all over the country. And in fact, with eBay, all over the world. And you don't have to worry about so much of an inventory, and you don't have to talk someone else into carrying your inventory. So since I've done that, it's been a whole lot better. I can come up with any products. I've got about 30 different products on now, but they're different colors and sizes, so there are over 225 line items. And that's just basically what I do. And I've also helped mentor some people to get provisional patents and to get their products going too. Any questions?
Q&A? Anybody?
Was that short enough for you?
That was good.
Okay. Yeah.
Just so I understand what you do on eBay works, do you have a quotation?
Yeah, there are different ways you can go on bid. You can put something on bid. You can put this chair on bid, and whoever gets the best bid wins it. Or you can just put items on and say, this is the price I want for it. And then, especially on Amazon, I'm pretty sure I pay for a store on eBay too. But for like $39.95, you can have a store on Amazon. And you can put as many products in there as you want. And there's no bidding or anything like that. It's just a set price. And then you tell Amazon and or eBay how much it weighs. They figure out the shipping weight, somebody buys it. And then they just send you an order with all the address and all the pertinent stuff. And it's paid for. It's nothing like having to wait till some retailer sends you a check.
They found what you do just because it's a search term that applied to what
It's amazing.
Well, hold on a second. I'm going to have you move over there.
Okay.
People on the internet can't hear the question.
Yeah, they can't hear the question on the live feed. So let me bring this up to you here.
Yeah, the question was, do they find you on the internet? I have no idea how, because there's so many, millions of stores and millions of internet sites. But to counter that, there are millions of people getting on the internet every single day and every hour and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, somehow they find me. I've got some very obscure products. Some friends of mine sometimes come to me with, I call them need identifiers. They don't really invent anything. They just come and say, hey, I got to get rid of my mother-in-law, so I invent murder. No. They come to me and say, hey, a friend of mine needed his wife traveled a lot. That's not up for bid. A friend of mine's wife traveled. She was a traveling salesperson, and her arm on this side while she was driving was always exposed to the sun. So she wanted to, and she was very, very vain and wanted to keep her tan even, like that matters. But okay. But she was like in her 30s, so it mattered to her. So I came up with this thing called a sun sleeve. And it's just opaque on the top and it's sheer on the bottom, so you can get some sort of air circulation. I sell maybe a half dozen of them a year. I mean, almost never. But every now and then they'll find it. And how, I don't know, but I think, certainly not me, but I think people spend like hours on the internet going through store after store just looking for that special item or that certain item. I have no idea how they find it, but almost all my products are very, very obscure.
And you don't do anything specifically to help them find you, like search engine optimization is what they do for
the
websites.
SEO thing, I'm very interested in it. I'm not computer savvy myself. I'm 65 and I just don't want to learn, a new trick. And I've talked to a couple of SEOs and they claim that they know what they're doing, and I went with one and he didn't know what he was doing. I would love to have a good SEO because I've got my internet site up, mygeneralstore.net, and all the sales are come through Amazon and eBay.
Other questions?
You alluded to some aggravation with PayPal. What problems did you experience?
I don't know. That was about 10, 12 years ago. But it seemed like they wanted something just this way and just this way, and it was illogical. And when something's illogical, I really have a tendency to just kind of tune it out. Well, you couldn't just tune out PayPal. They had to, do it just right. I don't remember exactly what the problem was. And I have someone now that puts all my stuff in the stores, and she basically deals with PayPal. And whatever it was I objected to, they have changed over the years. So I really don't remember. But I know a lot of people are unhappy with PayPal.
And I'll answer one of the questions that was asked about Google search engines and SEO. That changes every 3 months. Last year about this time, Google changed the entire search engine portion of it and how they find websites and stuff. So it's much more difficult to actually do SEO as it was at one time.
They changed it to make it more difficult?
Yes.
Well, good for
Too
them.
many people that know what they're doing and how to get into the system. Other questions? So what was one of the main obstacles that you had to get over? I mean, I know you've created a lot of products, and you've got a lot of products on your website. Mm-hmm. When you start creating a product, what do you do? Just come up with an idea and just move forward on it? Because like Sean said at the very beginning, a lot of times people have ideas, but they have a hard time figuring out how to get off of that idea and get a product made. Other people are makers, and they have a problem of finding ideas. How do you manage that?
Well, in the advertising business, it's called kill your baby. If you've got an idea and you just hold on to it for 9 months, it drives you crazy. Just get out there and get it out, make it, and then see if you still like it. And like he had alluded to, you can go to all your friends and neighbors and they're going to love it. They're not going to hurt your feelings. The only true judge is the customer. If they'll buy it, it's wonderful. If they don't, it's not wonderful. So the biggest problem I had when I first got started was like 25 years ago. Getting accepted. The reason I started distributing my own product was because the distributors would not carry new products in the pet care line. And I thought, well, maybe go do a show. So there was a show in Long Beach, California, and I lived in LA for about 10, 12 years. So I thought, well, that's cool. I'll go out there and do it. And they said, no, you can't do that. You haven't been in business for a year. So it's like they don't want any new ideas. Kind of shocked me, but I said, okay, and I've never done a show since. And in retaliation of it. It just was very stupid that they were rejecting any new ideas. She's got the mic, so.
Do you build up an inventory of each of your products before you list them on the internet?
Yeah, if you've got a storefront and somebody comes in, you can schmooze the hell out of them and be real nice and show them your smile and say, you know, I'm out of that right now, but I'll get you one by next Wednesday. But on the internet, your only personality is if they like the product, it's a reasonable price, and you get it to them on time. So every day that I get an order, I mean, every order I get every day goes out that day. So yes, I always carry an inventory. That's my friendly smile that they can't see coming through on the internet. That's very important to people.
One more question down here front. This gentleman, we can move on. Right here.
Gentleman in the plaid shirt.
Not gonna try that?
I may not make it through there.
Have you tried just to be first on market all the time, or have you gone to the trouble of patenting some of your products?
Yeah, I've got a garage full of a product that I patented once. I usually get a provisional patent on everything. Just because it's cheap, I know how to do it, and I can run it off and get it done. And in case it takes off. But the only one that I really went all the way through with was a product called Toe Guard. You wake up first thing in the morning and you make your bed, but you don't have your shoes on. You run your foot right into the wheel. Oh, this is a cool little thing that goes around and protects it. And I spent, oh God, I think probably $6,000 or $7,000 on the patent, and you know, blah blah blah, and on this and on that, and I bet I've maybe sold 100, 200 pairs, you know, and that's been going like 10 years. So, never did recover the money. The thing of it is, the provisional patent is very important because that gives you a year to get out there and see what the interest is. But you better make sure you do it right in case there is good interest, and then if there's interest in the first year, you better go ahead and get the provisional, or I mean the design or the utility patent. But I normally don't mess with. Most of my products are very insignificant. I do them well, but they're very insignificant. Not going to change the world. Okay?
That's all we got for time on that one. Give him a hand, please. Thanks, Robin. A couple things I want to summarize very, very quickly. And you notice he didn't have necessarily the perfect answer every time. Because it's okay. You just have to do something. Get in motion. A couple things. You have to know your numbers, and you have to grow your numbers. What is the total actual cost of me producing this thing? And what is my margin? How can I lower my price per unit? Or how can I increase production? How can I increase the price that I'm selling it for? How can I effectively increase that margin? Or how can I just double my volume to double my profits? That's number one. Number two, don't confuse efficiency with being effective. You got a lot of people like Laura, we were talking about this the other night. People are just busy, 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 busy. As an entrepreneur, you don't get paid for being busy. You get paid for one thing, results out, not time in. As an employee, an hourly wage earner, you get paid for time in. I work 12 hours, boss. Well, here's your check. Here you get paid for one thing, results out. How many moved out the door today? How many did you sell? And there is absolutely no way to replace, in my opinion, what he's talked about is, I got the list, found out if they were marketing, distributing things that were in my niche, and then I contacted them. People say, I sent out 1,000 mailers today. I'd rather walk into 3 stores. I'm Sean Murphy. I'm the CEO of so-and-so. I understand you carry lines very similar to mine. Do you have 5 minutes? I have something that I think will make us both a ton of money. And the owner of that store is going to go, you can increase my margin. You can increase my numbers. You can make me money. What do you got? And then you have to be really, really quick and efficient with that. I see that all the time. It's the biggest frustration. They go, like people looking for a job. I've done 1,000 online resumes. Well, what'd that get you? Well, I've sent out 1,000, and none of them have interviewed you. Go see somebody. Something else is great. People say, well, a wise man learns from his mistakes. It's not true. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others. So if you don't know what's going on, you guys just ask somebody. Here's what you're going to find out. Somebody that's walked the path before you, that's made all the mistakes, will love to tell you all about it. Right, Keith? They'll sit down and go, whatever you do, don't do this. And you're like, oh my gosh, I was just getting ready to do that. Okay? And say, if you were in my position with my market and with my product, tell me what you would do to bring this. And what you'll find is by having an outside set of eyes, they'll see it's a completely different paradigm. They might even have a completely different use for the product. They go, well, I wouldn't use it for that. You know what you should do? You should use it for this. You'd sell 10 times more of them instead of going retail. You go to wholesale and you go to... It's important to talk to people that are in that industry and in that space and go, here is what I'm doing. If you were me, what would you do? And then shut up and take notes, okay? And they'll be more than happy to help you and advise people, and they'll give it to you most of the time for free. They'll be happy to help you, okay? So know your numbers, grow your numbers, and don't confuse being efficient. Well, I made 1,000 calls today versus being effective. I got 3 new accounts. Results are absolutely everything, okay? All right, next speakers is a company called Kumo Connect, and it's Blake Hodgson and Fenindra Brahmadevara. I practiced, okay. All right, but anyway, they're going to get ready. They're going to do a presentation. This is a keynote presentation, so this is something that they've already got in production, and obviously it's electronically involved. I don't know that much about what you do, so I'll be taking notes as well. But they're going to go here for about 20 minutes, do a little Q&A, and then we'll start a panel here in just a few minutes. So are we going to go with the lavalier on this, Bob or Kurt? Lavmark? Okay. Got a lavalier mic here for you. So are you doing all the speaking and presenting?
I'm going to do the first half.
Okay, well, while he's setting up, who's got a question for me on marketing? Yes, sir. No? I got a lot of. Okay. How about branding? How about sales? All right. Also, too, back on when he was referring to, Robin was talking about the search engine optimization, and like Mary said, that's a space that's changing every 90 days. Guys, things are, as soon as you have it in place, you understand it's old, it's antiquated. Your i5 is no longer cool because the i6 is coming out, all those type of things. It's the same thing with marketing, branding, and distribution. And you say, well, I'm 65 and I don't want to learn a new trick. Then find somebody that already knows all the tricks. I don't want people to say, well, improve on your weaknesses. I don't want to improve on my weaknesses. I want to hire somebody that's already a 10 in my weak space. Because if I'm horrible at something, if I'm a 3 and I really, 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 really work on it, I might get all the way to a 6 someday. Go, focus on your weaknesses. Yes, that's not true. Hire somebody that can fill the gap of your weaknesses. Hire experts. And also, too, don't battle this alone. Somebody goes, how am I going to do all this? Thank goodness you're not. How am I going to get all of this done? Not me personally. How are we going to make this result happen? Not how am I going to make it happen? I know it feels like us against the world if you're thinking just you and your product, because there's an entire world and an entire economy, a wonderful, wonderful thing called capitalism that would love you to be successful. Love it. The government wants you to actually be successful because they want to tax you. Okay? So actually everybody is on our side. So don't be afraid to incorporate help. Okay, are we ready?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Still hear me all right?
Yep.
A little higher.
Yeah, just bring it up a little bit higher, the mic itself.
How about that? Is that better? Okay, so I'm Blake Hodgson, and I'm here today with Fenindra, and we are with Kumo Connect. And so we're going to kind of take you through what we're doing, why it is we're doing it, and talk a little bit about who we are. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the why. So right now, home automation and the Internet of Things is a very fragmented system. So there's lots of great things coming out every single day that are changing our lives and making our lives a lot more efficient. But many times they're in their own app, their own protocol, and really they're good at talking to the web, but they're not real good at talking to each other. So what we're doing is building a platform and a suite of solutions that's going to be able to kind of as a bridge between all of these things that are out there and allow these things to be able to talk to each other. So you're going to be able to leverage all that data coming in from multiple different areas and make something even better. And that network can grow as your products grow as well, your network grows as well. And we also believe that, the Internet of Things is, these are your things, so you shouldn't have to pay a monthly fee for them. So why is this important? So right now there's about 2 billion devices out there. And in the next 4 years, that's going to quadruple to about 8 billion devices. So it's even more important that all of these devices are kind of speaking the same language, and they're able to leverage that information to do something with a lot more purpose. So let me rewind a little bit and tell you about how we started. So about 3 years ago, I started a new job, and I was going to be traveling quite a bit on business. And the problem with that is that I'm an avid gardener. So there really wasn't a way that I would be able to take care of my garden and do my job at the same time. So I looked around on the internet, and I spent days looking for something, and I just really couldn't find what I was looking for. So I went out and made it. I'm kind of a tinkerer. And after about 4 months, really wasn't too experienced in any of this stuff. So after about 4 months, I was able to see how my garden is doing and be able to send a tweet to water my garden. Well, I thought that was pretty cool. So what's next? So I thought. So I joined Hammerspace, and you may have seen Dave present a couple months ago. It's a local hackerspace. And this place really gave me all of the tools that I needed, the know-how, the ideas, the people, the nerds, everything to be able to help me take my ideas and bring them to light. And it's about this time when I brought in Fanny and a few other folks, and we started to make things. And because of the way that we developed the hardware and the software and our platform, we were able to make a lot of things. So here's just a few of the ones, and I'll be going over some more in the slides. But we really made a lot of things, and now what we're looking to do is to launch some of these core, strategic products. And so I'm going to take you through kind of the day in the life of what it is that we're doing. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you we're really kind of focused on 3 core things right now. So one is our indoor and outdoor gardens, and I'll be going into that in further slides. Also our hub. So this is kind of the brains of the operation. So this is something that really talks to everything and anything. And it talks to all the different protocols, all the different internet things out there, and brings them all together in one common language so that they can share the data and benefit from all of them. And lastly, our technology. So Fanny will be going into this a little bit more in detail later on. But really, we're focusing on developing our core technology, whether that's hardware and software. So let me take you through a day in the life of Kumo. So your day begins, and your coffee automatically starts brewing, and your NPR starts playing. Also, your blinds open slowly to wake you up. Now, blinds are a great thing for the Internet of Things. So you take blinds. They've been around for a very long time, and they really haven't changed all that much. Well, if you're able to connect them, you're able to do a lot more. So think about how many blinds you have in your house right now. Wouldn't it be great if they could all collectively work towards a common goal? For example, like in the winter, you can have them open up during the day to let the sunlight in to heat your home. Or in the opposite, in the summer, you can have all your blinds closed during the day and keep the heat out. You can also use it as a way to wake up in the morning, as kind of a gentle way to wake up in the morning. So next, your garden lights turn on and your outside garden gets watered. So this is a functional prototype of something that we're working on right now. And as I said, this is where we're focusing a lot of our time and attention. So what this does is it monitors a couple things on of the plant's conditions. So soil moisture, light, temperature, humidity, barometric pressure. And if your garden is dry, it's going to automatically water that for you. Same kind of thing happens for our outdoor garden. So the only thing different is that it attaches to the spigot and uses soaker hose to water the plants rather than what I have here. And you can see how your garden is doing anytime. So if you want to check in on your garden, you can look on any mobile or internet-connected device, and it's going to show you the trends for the last hour, days, months, weeks. And so you're really able to take care of your garden when your garden needs water, not when you have time to water it. So this year, so far, I haven't watered my garden once by hand. It's all been from my mobile. So next, you're in a hurry, so you leave your house and you leave the garage door and your light's all on. I'm sure none of you have done this, but if this ever did happen to you, what would happen is, so this is our garage door product. And so it uses sonar to be able to know, it attaches on the motor in your garage. And it uses sonar to know which cars are home, and also it uses it to know if the garage door is open. So if you drive off and leave your garage door open, it's going to close it automatically and send you a text message or an alert saying, hey buddy, you forgot to close your garage again, so I closed it for you. It also knows that you're not home, so it's going to turn off the lights in the house as well. So another thing that we made is our Hive thermostat, pun intended. So what this does is, this is a great example of showing when you can start to leverage the data throughout your system. You can leverage that data for something a lot more interesting. So the first thing this does is it talks to the outside garden, and it knows what temperature it is. So you know in Kansas, I think many of you lived in Kansas, it could be snowing on Monday, and then it could be 90 degrees on Tuesday. Well, I bet on Tuesday your thermostat is probably still set to heat. So this is going to automatically switch it over to air conditioning for you. It also knows if you're home or not by a number of different ways. So one, it can talk to the garage. Two, it can see if you're connected to your Wi-Fi network. It could also see if you're moving about the house by the number of motion sensors that are positioned throughout the house. And it even can tell by your GPS location if you're leaving the house or coming home. So it's going to be able to automate that whole process and save you money, because you don't need to be air conditioning all of Johnson County. So this was kind of a fun project for us. We've integrated into a lot of different things. This is where a fun thing that we did, integrating into Google. So we integrated into Gmail and Google Calendars for this project. And what it does is, if you can put a Google Calendar entry on your calendar, you can feed your dogs. All you have to do is put feed dogs or give treat. And it will automatically feed your dogs for you. My dogs also have their own email address. So you can email my dogs at rickyandlucy@gmail.com. Luckily, the address wasn't taken. And it will ring the bell, give them a treat, take a picture of them eating a treat, and then send you back a reply email with a picture of them eating the treat. So my only advice to you is you should limit the amount of people you give out that address to so that your dogs don't become diabetic. So next, your mail is delivered and you get a notification. So this shows how quickly we can come up with an idea and actually have it made. So from the time that we had the idea till the time I got a text message from my mailbox, it was about 4 hours. And we had it integrated into our system. It's just that easy. So this is all based off of how we've built our platform. And Fanny's going to be going into this more later, but we're really trying to open up our API and some of our software so that other developers can build on our network. And we're currently working with other people right now, helping them develop their products on our platform. So next, your kids arrive home and Kumo lets you know. So we use these things we call Kumo tags. And so what it is it's very similar to what hospitals use. They attach these on the bottom of the wheelchair so people don't roll off with them. And so it lets you know if something has left your property, basically. It's got about the range of Wi-Fi. So you can attach this to anything. You attach it to a bike, a dog, small children, or teenagers that act like small children, anything. And you can know if these things are leaving or coming on your property. Oh, sorry, I forgot. So also, when your kids come home, they leave the door open. So we've integrated in a lot of different third-party hardware as well. So we've integrated to things like motion sensors, door sensors, window sensors, doorbells, outlets. And all of these things are also able to talk to our platform, so you know right away if somebody is coming or going. So you arrive at home and your favorite music starts playing. So this is something we've been playing around with a little bit lately, is using alerts and sounds to trigger events. So think about it, if your basement starts flooding, you can play Beatles' Yellow Submarine, or if you can have it play some kind of sad country song if your dog runs away. Really the possibilities are endless. So when you go to bed, Kumo's going to, secure your house for you. So it'll, check the garage, make sure the garage is closed. It'll turn off all the lights in the house. It'll drop down the temperature of it, and then make sure that all the security and everything is working. So if you think about it, so really this whole day that you've been going through, you really haven't had to do anything. It's doing it for you. It knows your procedures, your daily routines, and it acts in accordingly to that. So you don't ever having to pull out, 5 different phones with 16 different apps to get all these things working. It just works. That's what home automation really should be. So whether you're from your couch or really anywhere in your world, so Kumo's going to connect you to your home and the ones that you love. So what do you think? So I promised I'd let Fanny talk a little bit. So he's going to go into more about some of the technical side, some of the stuff that we're doing behind the scenes, and where we're going with our technology. Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay, my friend Blake just talked about how the cool things, the Internet of Things that you're doing. So I just want to talk about how are we doing this. Before I get deep into this topic, and I know how many of you are software engineers or like programmers or because, sorry?
What's the question?
How many of you here are software engineers or programmers? Cool. Sure. Because I don't want to lose you, so I just want to keep it not too technical. So I'm going to start off with the architecture stuff on how the high level talk about how are we doing and how these things talk to the internet. I'll give you a brief note about the Kumo texture, which means Kumo architecture. So this term is coined by us, and you might be still thinking that this is the problem with the nerds, because we define our own words and all that stuff. So at the left side, you see mobile devices and the devices. So mobile devices are the one you actually have or carry with you, and these are the devices which are actually at our home, and they talk to one common things here, where our processes and our applications run on the cloud, where these devices always talk to one place, that's the cloud, where all the programming and processing is done usually. So we have our databases that talk to this process so that to preserve all the data which is coming through the ears and every second. So for example, your garage sends a signal to our clouds almost like 1 request per second just to check whether it's on or off or whether your cars are there or not. So all these data is actually preserved in our databases, and from there we actually take over to the mobile to actually show you on your mobile device. So that's how we traverse the data from and to. So these are technology stacks of what technologies are we using to actually build this system. For these hardware devices, we usually program in C or C++, which is the lowest level language we can get to. And the second thing is the API, the cloud systems that actually these devices connect to are written in Node.js, JavaScript, and the Objective-C and Java are usually your mobile devices programming languages where you actually see stuff on your mobile. So, and I just want to talk about the nerd stats. It's just for nerds. So it's about explaining how frequent are we grabbing the data from these devices. So there are two types. One is the time-based. As I told you, there's a garage that sends signal each and every second to the cloud, and show it on your mobile device. So no matter what your app is on or you're looking at it, these devices send back and forth the data. Second thing is trigger-based. So whenever a door is open in your home, then it sends a signal. It doesn't check for every second. So it's like, and I'd like to talk about the strategy. I keep it high level because first thing is the third-party integration. Right now in the market, everybody have their own devices. For example, Samsung has their own refrigerators, and LG has their own television sets. And there are new home security stuff that actually are produced by different company. So we want to build a platform where we can make these talk to each other and make them productive. That's the third-party integration. And our platform allows you to connect all devices in your home, no matter you bought it Samsung, no matter you bought it LG. You can just still access them from one place. That's the Kumo app. And right now, there are no common standards for the Internet of Things because people can build their own stuff and own protocols they use. So we are trying to help build the common standards as well so that people can, it's open source, anybody can come and develop, make your things work and connect it to our cloud. And the battery stat. So these devices, some of these devices just run on the battery. For example, this one. So this just run on the battery. The amount of data and the way it connects to the cloud or the hub actually takes a lot of energy and the power. So you don't want to drain all the battery in one day, and you don't want to replace the battery every day on your kid's stacks. So that's where we are trying to put our best strategy to actually make it more battery efficient so that it doesn't send a signal, it just sleeps whenever it doesn't. So it's making more efficient by programming intelligently, which can last long for more than an year, instead where you can go from weeks. So, and the real-time data delivery. You don't want to get a text message when your garage is open after 2 hours or 3 hours. You want it to be real time. That's what is intended for like the whole project. So we are trying to apply a couple of strategies here. Is to be real time, and like as I told, it can be trigger based or like a time based. You want your plants to be watered whenever you press a button on your phone, not just after a couple of hours you press the button on the phone and your plants dry. So the technology stack, what I explained to you, is actually supported real time. So you can just do it in quicks in milliseconds or seconds anywhere from the world. And this is something we are looking into the future, is data analysis. What is data analysis? So right now we get a lot of information from these devices, a lot of information from your mobile devices, saying that this garage just sends on and off signals to the cloud. So the data is just sitting there. So what are we doing with that data? We are trying to put some machine learning or techniques to just make it more productive, understand the data, like what is happening in your home, just like someone thinking of you, what's happening at your home. I'll give you a best instance that I can come up with. For example, if you are coming home daily at 5 o'clock and you're opening your garage and you're turning on your thermostats, what if it would be so cool so that it can open the garage automatically and then turn on your heater without you telling it after few weeks. So it learns the patterns like, oh, they come at 5 and the garage is open. They want your garage to be open and keep your thermostat cool before 5. So it understands the patterns of your daily routines and then apply back to you. So it's more like a machine learning techniques. That's something we are looking now. We haven't built this thing, but we need more data to actually make it more sense. Okay, I just want to give a quick steps of where are we and what's our next step. The first thing is we are now concentrating on building a robust mobile application that's for iOS, Apple phones, Android phones, so that anybody, no matter what platform you are, can use our stuff. Second thing is we are currently testing our stuff. So we have these things now talking to our cloud, and we are trying to test whether everything is going good. And complete hardware design for like pushing it close enough to hard prototype, and then be able to make it to manufacturing stage at a certain level. And then we are always open to people who would like to contribute into this project. So we're looking and growing. We wanted to grow our project. So developers preview. Anybody wants to actually play around with our cloud? They're like we're opening a developers preview in a few weeks, and then we're looking for crowdfunding. So okay. So please help us grow our project and our initiation, and then spread the word of our project so that people can contribute to our project and then help build our project. And if you have an idea, it is so open, so we can play around with that and put it on our prototype and make it real.
I have a question. What is the revenue model? What's going to be your revenue play on this? Because I think it's cool. I love technology. I love the idea. I understand what it does, have no idea how it works. I think most of your consumers don't ever want to know how it works.
Right.
Yeah, I want to know what's it going to do in my life, and are you selling convenience, or are you selling cost savings? So if you're shutting my door, then that's, so, or it could be a dual play.
Right.
So one question would be, what is your revenue market? The other thing I thought was really interesting, if all these devices are in the house, the most valuable commodity now on planet Earth is knowledge. It's information. You guys are in everybody's house. Mm-hmm. The play is not only to gather the information, one of the ones that I see, to gather the information to increase the efficiency of your device, but what would companies pay to have the information of knowing how many times is this device used, how frequently, at what time of day. But there's a lot of things about a home that these things could possibly monitor. You can sell it to other companies and other producers. They go, boy, if there's any way we can know that, it's kind of like the eye in the sky. You're sitting there 24/7 with that family. You can monitor and track that entire family's behaviors and sell that data. That data could actually be your biggest revenue product, way beyond everything else.
Sure.
So something to definitely think about. Any questions? Right here. Okay.
And right along with that, how secure is the data?
Okay. So I'm going to talk about 3 security things that we are right now focused. One is the encryption. Encryption, which is usually helpful for not human readable data. So we don't want to transfer our data from the devices to the cloud, which is readable, which is encrypted, and you don't nobody, even if they crack it, they can't read it. So that's the biggest thing we are right now focused is encryption hardware level. Before it actually connects to the cloud, it authenticates itself whether it's a valid device, and then encrypts all the data it is sending to the cloud, so no third-party devices can, or like people can actually read it or know it. Second thing is there's another security feature that we are trying to do is from the layers, like the way the transport layers that we use to connect to the cloud and back from devices to your mobile. Everything is secured through the web standards, like HTTPS, like secure standards, and then we are trying to focus more on the encryption on hardware so that nobody can crack in or read the data.
I know I asked like 3 questions right up front. I should have, before I had her ask, I should have given you the opportunity to answer it. Mm-hmm. So again, what's your revenue play? How are you going to make profit?
Yeah, so really we're not the first to the market. We know that. So we're really banking on the idea that we're able to connect to all these different devices. Plus, we're very rapidly able to come up with new ideas and things that aren't currently out on the market. And so once that you already have the hub in your house, you're able to connect all these different things, mobile users. So you're selling the convenience, and, you know, the efficiency to it.
But are you making is your profit going to come from the devices themselves? I noticed that you said no monthly. I tell you what, one of the biggest plays and one of the most successful out there right now is ADT. They show up to create awareness on your doorstep. We'll install all the stuff for free. We'll secure your house. We'll do 3 door monitors. We'll do window monitors. We'll do garage. We'll do it all for free for a low monthly monitoring fee of whatever the case may be. I tell you what, a monthly residual play.
There are ways to do that.
I love monthlies.
We're basing it so that you don't need to have a monthly fee. So for things like security, for example, so if somebody breaks into my house, I can have it send me a text message, or I can have it phone my neighbor, and they can go out and look and see if anybody's there. But we do have actually connections to use things like calling centers that very similar to what ADT does, and we can undercut their price quite a bit.
Are you opposed to doing them monthly?
We're not. That's not part of our base business model. But there are some people that are going to want the additional security, for example, and if they do.
Just from a long time experience, there's probably some people that back you up there. If there's any way you can get a continuous residual off of this, I don't care if it's $1 a month, 50 cents a month, $9.95 a month, that continuous coming in times million or even 100,000 is way better than any margin you make of a product at a time and an installation at a time. Other question? Okay, here we go.
Since they own the device, they own the data, how are you going to sell that?
At this point of time, we are trying to build our trust. We can actually fight for that answer, saying that the data, which is already encrypted, which actually is not readable, saves on the cloud. And even if somebody cracks it, they can't read it. The first point is that.
No.
And
the homeowner, if I own that device, I own any data that comes from that device. You cannot sell it.
Yes, that's the point. So we are trying to actually build a trust, not like, so our intention on the top is not about like more about the money or, so our intention is to push the technology in our daily lives. So I would just say that it's hard to actually sell a data, as I told. I mean, if we take our stand, it's not to actually able to not crack ourselves or give it to somebody. So it's like more of when I tell you about the machine learning techniques, what we are using is like, you might be wondering like, how do I know about the patterns, what you come in daily and that. So that technique is completely not human thing. It's completely the computer thing. So we don't actually read your data and see what the patterns and then apply back. It's the computer that actually reads your patterns and then. So if it is a computer, then there's no point of computer selling your data to third party. If it is a human, it would actually sell it to a third party. So that's how we actually tackle.
So you could have the opportunity of having them sign something, say, look, the data and the pattern can be monitored, not specifically maybe to my house, but just the use of these items. They get a discount on it, then you could sell it. Okay, another question.
So what is your business model?
Make money.
Amen.
So,
well,
So how do you plan on making money?
Well, there's a number of our products that are kind of unique to the market right now. So, for example, the garden. There's not a whole lot of things out there right now that deal with the gardens, for example. So, if they were to buy this garden kit, they take it home and then they realize, oh, the same company sells a thermostat too, and this thermostat talks to my garden, and it's able to do things that no other things out there on the market are able to do. So we're very quickly able to come up with all new ideas, new prototypes, and there's plenty of things to automate in the house. So we intend to, kind of the hub is more, to get in the door, but then after that we have a lot of other items and products that we can sell to.
How are you creating awareness of it? Because no matter how cool it is, if I don't know it exists, I can't purchase it from you.
Well, one thing that we're looking into now is possibly crowdfunding to get the word out, because we are in an early stage. We do have working prototypes. One of our strong points is that we're able to build these things that actually work in a very short amount of time. So I think that we can test the market by things like crowdfunding to see if there is actually interest out there.
When you say we build it, who's the we that's building it?
We.
Okay. How would you scale? So you have a tremendously successful crowdfunding campaign, and you need 100,000 units. Now what?
We go to manufacturing.
Okay. So, all right, but you don't have those relationships yet, right? Okay.
We do have some relationships.
That was my question: is how are you funding this? You've got a lot of development into this. What at this point, I'm guessing you're not at the revenue stream that you would like to be at.
Sure.
So, the two of you, how are you funding your efforts?
Well, currently it's just us funding it, and a lot of the things that we're building up here aren't really expensive as far as the components and everything. To develop a lot of these things, you're under $100 or so. So we're able to. So we made all these prototypes ourselves at Hammerspace. All these are either 3D printed or laser cut. So we're kind of testing the market right now and seeing what items are very popular and what's getting the most attention. And we've seen that people are very attached to their pets and their gardens. So that's kind of the area that we're focusing on, where we see the highest interest. And we're developing the kind of a core technology that goes in all of these. So once we make one of them, we're going to be able to use this for all of our different devices. So the actual cost to develop the circuit board and everything is really not that bad.
So you're like. So you're like most entrepreneurs, you're self-funded at this point.
At this point, right.
Okay.
We are looking at, if anybody wants to throw money at us, we're open to that.
Have you sold anything yet? Any
No.
units?
No,
These
these
are all
are working prototypes.
Okay, also too, in the future, so you have tremendous awareness created of this, and I'll just use me as an example, okay? I'd go, this is awesome. I don't want to touch it or install it, I want to come home and have it all working. Who do you have that's going to do the installation?
It's actually, the way that we're making this, it is really easy to install. So you would take home a device.
Not for me.
Okay, so you take this home, and all you have to do, you pull out your phone, you download the app. So far, are you with me? Okay. So there'll be either you pull up your phone and you look on your Wi-Fi network. There's a Wi-Fi hotspot that says this is Kumo, and you connect to that, and then you can put in the credentials of your Wi-Fi address, and it's set up.
Okay. How do I control how long? I mean, and from that app, can I go back in there? I said, look, don't keep shutting my garage door on me. My kids are running in and playing in the driveway, and you keep shutting the garage door on me. How can I program it to say, look, if I'm gone for 30 minutes, then put the garage down, or if I'm gone for 20, how do I go back in there, and is that possible to do, or is it set on a predetermined?
Something that we could do in like the settings.
So that's completely on the app side. You have total control on the app on the mobile device.
All right.
So you do it or the homeowner does it?
The homeowner.
So I want to tell you guys, I think this is a great idea, great concept. I had a chance to talk with these guys quite a little at the Maker Faire, and my son would absolutely go nuts over this. He's about their age. So I think it's a pretty cool concept. Are there any other questions?
I'm going to go first because I'm closest. I assume all these devices are wireless?
Yes.
Is there a saturation point? Like, do we ever reach a point where we have so many wireless devices in a home that we're in trouble?
Some of the devices all these devices don't run on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
some
that's
devices run on Bluetooth. Some devices run on the RFID, which is usually like the radio frequency signals, which actually limits inside your home. And some of them actually run on different ZigBee, like home automation protocol that other companies use. So it's not totally Wi-Fi, and don't actually clutter your router or your internet speed. It doesn't actually. It just sends very, very, very minimal of data, like through the hub. So you don't have a picture where you have more devices at your home that's cluttering other devices or.
Hi, I actually love this idea. I've
Thanks.
been looking for a security system that I can hook up at home and I don't have to pay for the monitoring. I would pay a monthly fee for the equipment to own it rather than, the monitoring. I do have a couple questions for you. and some stuff to think about while you're programming. I would like it to be connected to security cameras, and I'm a little concerned about getting too many text. And on the dog feeder, I'm sure you can program it to feed the dog a couple times a day, or ask, because you might want to have some way of monitoring. If I go on vacation and take the dog, I don't want to come home to a pile of dog food.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so it's really easy to, I mean, the way that we have it set up in this prototyping stage is just by adding Google Calendar entries. So you can just put a vacation on your calendars and it would take.
And one last thing, get one of my cards and give me one of yours. I'm connected with investors and manufacturers.
Great.
The space that you're in, the Internet of Things and home automation, is incredibly hot right now, which is a good thing. A bad thing is it's incredibly hot right now. There's a company called Google, and they bought Nest, and they're heavily into this area along with some others. So you guys are going up against some gigantic competitors.
Sure.
What's your thought process on that?
Well, the pie is really big. I think there's plenty of pie for everybody.
So, yeah, not all the features are built by Google, or not all the features are built by some other company. So we can apply, we are trying to talk to people and see what actually they need in their devices. It's not like Google built that feature and Google built the other feature. So if you don't need those features, you don't buy that product. You actually buy the product which you have, is useful for you. So it's not like Google can build all the features that everything it can be done. So it's like we are trying to be some kind of unique features to the device so that you can actually play around with it more than the other devices. That's where we are trying to segregate ourselves with other markets. So that's the way, that's the selling point for us too.
How many hubs do you need in a house? I mean, some people have a house that's 1,000 square feet, and some have a 20,000 square foot house and structures and stuff. How is it overcoming concrete and other things?
Sure. So you're kind of limited depending on what kind of devices you're looking to connect to that. So something like this would, I mean, I'm in maybe about a 1,500 square foot house, and it wouldn't really have any problem with that. If you're in a bigger house, you're going to be limited by the protocols that you're going to be using. So if it's Wi-Fi, I mean, if you can't get Wi-Fi all over your house, you're going to need another router. Same kind of situation here. We use a number of different technologies. We use Bluetooth. We use 433 megahertz radios, 2.4 gigahertz radios, which is a lot like what's in your mobile phone. So you are a little bit limited by the specific communication frequency that you're trying to use. But I mean, for an average size house, one should be enough. And with every device that you're adding into it, it's creating a mesh network. So these devices are able to talk to each other, and and for every one that you add, your network actually gets bigger, and they're able to communicate further over.
I would like to throw an instance on your question. So if your garden, outdoor garden, is not actually reaching to the hub, so it can talk to the near devices, which actually can take it and then pass back to the hub. So that way you have an unlimited range, like extended range. It's a real, yeah. So its goal is to just actually make it reach to the destination. That's something we are playing right now, like the mesh network, so that even if it is out of the range, it can talk to the near devices.
Okay, question here. Another vote for recurring revenues. You got to find a way to do that. Getting up and trying to recreate something every day and resell something every day is tough.
Sure.
Tough business. If you can get something coming to you while you're sleeping, that's really good. My second question has to do with the architecture of this thing. You've got a nice little box there, but I'm assuming you mentioned cloud before. This is cloud computing. You got a big server somewhere,
right?
Which means somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to try to crack this thing and figure out that I'm not home. And I think I saw something just this week about something like 85% of the home break-ins, they check your Facebook before they break in because they know you're not home. This is just another good place for people to get in, figure out, okay, they shut the lights off, I'm going to turn them back on, I'm going to open the garage door and get in there. So I'm just telling you, that'll ruin you immediately and forever if you ever get cracked.
Security is a top priority for us. Something we're investing a lot of time and energy.
It's like we wanted to build the trust first. It's like more like if you buy an Apple device, you have a trust that it's something, even if somebody cracked the Apple data, you don't care because it's the trust. Because, so that's something we wanted to extend our, we can build our trust based on how robust or secure our devices are. It will actually tell the world the trust, give us a trust. So
You build trust over time,
Mhm.
but it takes one incident
sure,
that can ruin that trust forever.
Sure.
yep, sure, we'll keep that in mind.
How long have you been working on this project?
I think, I mean, from 0 to where we're at now, probably a little over 2 years. on
And
all
when do
these
you
different things.
anticipate making your first sale?
We're trying to get something maybe by end of this year or mid next year at latest. We still have a lot of software development. That
I guess I'm just curious, why would you make the second product before you would sell the first product? I
Well,
mean,
we
you've
have to
got
get to the
different
first
things there.
product.
What now?
We have to have, you know, these are all prototypes, so we need to have them a little bit closer to something that can be manufactured.
Okay. Good luck on making a sale.
Thank you.
So basically, are you saying that essentially that you have these different products that need to be pulled together into one centralized piece to pull them together so that it can communicate with all of them? And that's the thing that you're working on now. You've got all the little products now figured out, but now you're working on the central piece to
A lot of these
connect
are
them?
standalone, so that they can, like the dog feeder or the garden or the hub or the thermostat or with the garage, really most of those can operate on their own. So what we're developing is kind of the core hardware for these devices. And once we've done that, changing in between the garage door and the dog feeder is just a matter of adding a few different small components, and it's able to go. So what we're working
So essentially, once you get that main hub done, then you can sell any of these products because all of them will fit into the hub.
all of these would be able to, a lot of them are independent, so they would be able to communicate directly to the cloud.
So we have been playing around whether it should be dependent on a hub or like independent. So we are experimenting this in parallel. This device has its own Wi-Fi, talk to your Wi-Fi, and then to your mobile. So it doesn't need talk to hub. So that's what we are actually looking at. So we are playing around with like whether it needs to talk. These devices can't have a Wi-Fi. It is so small because so you want to talk to some real near devices and then get the data from there. So it's totally dependent on what kind of product it is and how it is useful for people.
Yeah, another example is like the blinds. So it doesn't make sense to connect every single blind in your house to Wi-Fi.
So that's where you...
the blinds create a mesh network that's going to be able to communicate back. So some things make sense to have its own dedicated Wi-Fi and be able to communicate to cloud, and some of them don't.
Questions? Any other questions?
Is this on like you plug it into a normal outlet and it has a battery backup system to it?
Most of them do not have battery backups, no.
Okay, so you lose power to the house and you lose all your stuff.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
One thing I want to throw up when I said it struck my mind. So right now we are for the Neva outdoor garden. We're actually experimenting with the solar. So we're trying to put a small solar chip on the top of the outdoor gardens where it can take power itself on the battery and then run standalone without actually powering like. So that's where we're actually looking into the clean energy from solar things for outdoor units.
Okay, and then say like your front door lock. Is this system trying to control like your front door lock
It
also?
can.
Okay,
so there are a couple of companies that have done some smart locks. So these devices, we are trying to actually make them talk to each other. So they don't need to open an app for your door devices. So need another app to control your garden. Don't control a blind. So it's like 5 or 10 different apps in your mobile to control 10 different things. That's where this platform comes in.
I think one thing, his question has brought on another one, especially having a direct power source and then a battery backup. We become so dependent upon everything in our lives. And if I had something like this, it would be very easy for me to become dependent for my family security on your device.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there is no backup system and my garage is not put down and my house isn't locked and then it is wiped out, whether your system's encrypted or not, in the litigious society we live in, you know what an American's going to do. It's not my fault I didn't lock the front door. Your thing didn't lock it. And so I'm going to sue you. And that's, no, I would never do that. But you're going to have a certain portion of society that's just looking for a chance to that. So I'd caution you at that. Also, too, you've got so many things. You guys are so creative and have so many things going. Have you considered doing a test market, you know, with friends and relatives, with guys like me that have, look, I said, I'm not even going to install it on, I'm not going to touch it. I want it in my house, but I'm not ever going to physically touch that device. And get feedback and have a, you know, kind of a consortium, kind of a brainstorm, and go, look, which one did you love best? Which one did you hate? Which one should never be manufactured? Why do you like it best? And would you actually buy one? And then what would be a price point? Are these devices or some of them installed in other people's homes other than yourselves?
Not currently, no.
Okay, do you have a plan to do so?
Yes,
of course.
So that's where I was mentioning that we are opening for developers preview and the beta tester, so that people like my relatives, my neighbors, if I'm close to them, so can help them install and then actually make them more robust by learning the system.
Well, you probably get some volunteers right here, right? You said, give me a free one.
So that's part of,
Give me a free one, we'll hook it up.
What we're developing with this hardware. So this right now would be very complicated to put into somebody's house. The next generation of hardware is as easy as finding it on their Wi-Fi network. So that's why we need to kind of, in order to do beta testing, I don't want to go and install them every single time, and that wouldn't be a great experience for them either. So that's where we're going with this next level of hardware.
Other questions? All righty.
Can you use voice commands?
Yes.
Yes.
I can actually say, okay, Google, water my garden, and it'll water it from my wrist.
So he has been experimenting with the smartwatch that recently Google actually released. So you can just say, oh, okay, Google, water my garden, or what's the status of my garden? So it actually talks to the hub and then pull that information from the cloud. So that's like, we want to be the unique features. That's where we wanted to segregate our market and make the product sell itself.
Okay. Mike's got a question here.
Assuming you get it exactly the way you want it, do you have a plan for distribution?
What do you mean by that?
How are you going to get out in the public and make it available for sale?
I think probably one of the first ways that we're going to go is probably crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding.
It's one way to test the market without having to, because we're very close to being able to go to the crowdfunding level. We've got lots of working prototypes. We want to get to the next generation of prototypes, and then it will have a product that we can go out and test.
Did I hear crowdfunding?
Crowdfunding, yes.
Okay, again, assuming you've got $1 million to work with, do you have a plan? Do you see a target as to how you're going to get it distributed?
We do have having some conversations right now with manufacturers, yes.
Okay.
You asked about distribution, not manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different.
Right. I'm a marketing guy, so I'm trying to see how you would position this to maximize your sales. And that's kind of my question. I'd be delighted to brainstorm with you on that.
Sure.
It would seem to me it's a very security-oriented product, and you would probably want to form some alliances and relationships with people who can utilize exactly what you do.
We're always open for help.
A great point, because you got several different issues here. If you had an incredibly successful crowdfunding campaign, that's capitalization. That's not distribution. That's product verification, and that's capitalization. And now I have people that want it, and I have this, but how do I get it out there? So again, creating awareness of it, marketing, but also too, you have somebody in Seattle that wants one, and I have someone in St. Augustine in Florida that wants one. Distribution. Where and how is this thing going to be created? How is it going to get them to them quickly, efficiently, cost effectively, without being broken? And how can I do that in a very, very timely fashion? So again, three totally separate moving parts. Distribution has nothing to do with manufacturing. Manufacturing is important to get quickly, handle distribution quickly. But boy, those are three totally separate things, and Mike would be able to really help you out with that. I just really strongly believe. Other questions? Okay, before we move on to, no other questions? One more. Okay, hang on.
I didn't notice it up there, but do you have any plans to maybe interface this with like the GPS satellite systems or auto sensors?
Sure, why not?
I didn't know if you were going that far with it.
We're also
you say-
using, well, I mean, we're leveraging the GPS in phones is really where we're focusing on in that specific arena at the moment.
We have one of the prototype that we are working on is the GPS tracking devices. See how things work on on the vehicles. Track your if you lose your car, you can track on your phone. So that's where one of the prototype we're working on right now. So.
One last comment that I would just really give you as far as encouragement. And again, there's so many moving parts, and I see, kind of, hopefully see and understand your vision. But every single business runs on capital, and if you want to fund this and grow this, and Keith asked you guys how you doing this, and it's all internally, and it's all you right now. To grow anything organically, you have to have more money coming in than the cost of operations, and then all those net profits, are reinvested. I would really, really encourage you as quickly as possible to identify one and go, this is going to be our money maker. This is going to be our cash cow while we're building all of this other stuff. Right. And that will also be a great tutorial for yourself of how can I do crowdfunding in an expert way, and how can I handle distribution, how can I handle manufacturing, because you're going to have huge challenges in all of those areas. Why? Because that's the way it is. It's going to be tough, and just know that it's going to be tough. But I would really encourage you to find one, identify one quickly, and start making profit. People spend so much time in the creative phase and the testing phase. Look, start making some money. Start getting some revenues coming in. Okay, give them a hand, guys. Great job. Very, very exciting. Very exciting.
So
Okay.
I think I have a.
Please go ahead.
So,
Please do.
So when he said identify something, it's not my choice. It's like the people's choice. So what do you think here would be the coolest one to get out of us, just to actually know?
Which one? Dog feeder?
Hot dog, cat feeder.
How about the garden stuff?
Marijuana growers would like
Marijuana growers. That's true. I can water it from afar so I don't get busted when they show up, right? Question right here.
So what's the brain that makes the whole thing work? It's the hub, right?
Right.
So if I have that hub in my house, it can talk to me on my phone.
Yep.
Right? And what else can it do? If the refrigerator and the TV and other things in the home are already Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or otherwise connected, you're good to go with those things with a phone and your hub, right?
Sure.
But those things aren't talking to other things. That's one problem. And then so what's different about the hub is that it has a number of different ways to communicate. So, for example, our garden, it connects to the Wi-Fi, and it also has another radio. But the hub has a number of different ways to communicate. So it's able to communicate to all of the different things. And it's able to pull that data from whatever widget you have into here, make it into a language that other things can understand, and then use that to communicate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So it looks to me like the hub is the hub of your business.
Sure.
It's a big part of it. Yeah.
So, but with the hub and without the products, I don't think the hub can solve itself. So there needs a product too. So we're trying to actually push a couple of products at the same time and then sell it instead of just.
The hub is probably going to take the most in time and effort in development.
So that's why we are actually, as told, we are trying to focus on any one project and then move apart from here.
So is the pet feeder, back to that, is that pet feeder, is this your product and your design, or is that just something you put the technology on?
I made this, yeah. So.
So that is yours?
Yeah. I mean,
See, I think it's really cool. Yeah.
Cut it out at Hammerspace. So these are all of these are either 3D printed or laser cut out. So these two are the pet feeder and this are both cut out by a laser.
Now we got some more questions. Hang on. Okay.
Well, I apologize. I came late and just listening to what you just said. Your hub is using Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, all the different protocol. Why not just focus on the hub to talk to anybody and everybody's device? You know, somebody is selling a thermostat that runs on Wi-Fi or Zigbee or whatever it may be, and just focus on that and forget about all the other stuff, because now you're, to me, you're just spread out pretty thin and you're all over the place.
Right.
But your hub seems to be the thing that you've got going for you.
Right. Sure. But as some of you have said, you need to get out there and make something that makes money. So that's why we're picking, we're investing a lot of time and effort into our garden module right now, because that's something that you could have up and running a lot quicker and get that out to the market and be able to get some additional capital to fund the hub. Because the hub, with all the different technologies that are in it, the designing of that part, while it works in a prototype stage, having it in the manufacturing takes a lot of time. For example, Z-Wave, their development kit, just so you can play around with Z-Wave and get certified, is $5,000. And then to get it certified is another like $3,000. And that's not something that we want to dive into, get ourselves into a lot of debt without having something that brings in revenue. And if somebody has the garden, they're going to be like, oh, well, now they have a hub, and now they have all these other things, and they're going to be able to communicate. And we're kind of using this, what we call as gateway drugs. So get them in the door, get people interested, and
then we can sell our hub.
Here's what's exciting about all this, because you do have a lot of things and it's spread kind of thin. The money maker, your cash cow, you don't have to pick it out. It will make itself known. Really quick, you say, I can't believe we're selling 10 of these for one of these. Or I thought the product was going to be this. Holy cow, the product is the service. Or I can't believe we're not making a dime by selling these things. Let's do the monthly residual or whatever the case may be, or lease the equipment to them instead of, however you're getting a monthly residual off of it. You guys got to have to keep that money, keep coming in to have any chance of growing and expanding. Lori, you got a question?
Can we just do a quick focus group question for them? Who would order the pet thing?
Depends on price. What's the price on the pet thing? If I was
Should be under 150.
under 50?
150.
150. If that thing was available for sale in mass production right now for $150, who would buy one? $99, who would buy one?
Wow.
I would buy one for under $100.
What I do for 100, because we go out of town for a couple of weeks every year, and we have cats, and that would be much better than putting them.
A lot cheaper. And so, yes, sir.
If I wanted a pet feeder, I'd Google pet feeder and I'd find somebody else's pet feeder. I mean, the fact that you're integrating this so intelligently is what makes you unique.
Yeah, that's where we want to segregate, putting so cool features on that, like integration with different services.
And there may be other, garden things out there.
So the technology with the device is what makes it so attractive for you. Yeah, I agree. Because otherwise, just a pet feeder.
There's other garden things out there, but there's nothing that has the garden and the thermostat talking together in harmony.
I'm with you. Guys, I think they could do another 2 hours of questions, but we do have to cut it. I have to hold true to my word, get them out of here on time. So go ahead and give them a hand. All right. You should have one of these brochures. If you don't, there's going to be a bunch of them out here on the table. This is an event. Make 48 is an event that Inventor Center of Kansas City has. We're the brainchild of this, and so this is the first inaugural event of Make 48. This is going to be November 14th, 15th, and 16th. So please take the time to go ahead and put that on your calendar, because we're actually going to need your help as participants and members of Inventor Center of Kansas City. We need your help promoting this event. So the format is on Friday. We're going to have keynote speakers on patent laws. We're going to have some law firms that have agreed to provide a panel of attorneys. The type of attorneys that would charge you several $100s an hour to have a conversation. We'll come and be on the panel to address your questions about patents and utility patents and provisional patents and when should I even do one, should I think of one, should I do license agreement, have them pay for it, all those type of things. We'll have someone else possibly from that same crew that will talk about licensing agreements and how to structure them and what to make sure to put into them so you don't get burned or so a competitor buys it and just shelves it and you never make a dime. There's a lot of things that you need to be aware of, and that expertise, prototyping, branding, marketing, how to work a trade show effectively is all going to be on Friday. So we're going to have 7 speakers / panels on Friday. Friday night is when the challenge will be issued, and so it's Make 48. It's a 48-hour creation invention contest. So teams will enter this program. They have no idea what the category will be, so they can't do any prep work ahead of time. We want it to be a 48-hour window. And then we will announce that night the category. It might be the great outdoors. Go. You have 48 hours. Or pet item. Go. You have 48 hours. Or a garden utensil item. Go. You have 48 hours. That team will then go back immediately and design, and then through the Makers Lab at Union Station, actually build a functional prototype within 48 hours, shoot a promotional video with assistance from the AV department there from UMKC, and then post that on YouTube. And then we're going to have a panel of judges vote on that and decide which is the best product, which is the one that's most viable. The whole idea is to have a title sponsor, which is yet to be secured. We're working on that. But a company that would love to issue the challenge and then have the first right of refusal on a licensing agreement for the invention. Now, it's our 10th anniversary, so it's our ICKC's 10th anniversary. It's Union Station's 100th anniversary. The event will be held at Union Station, great format. On Friday, we're actually, all the speakers are going to be at the Greater Kansas City Chamber of Commerce Hall, which is actually part of Union Station as well. Then we'll have a reception that night, maybe at Pierpont's or maybe at a hotel. We're still working on that. But the tickets for the speakers is going to be a very, very limited commodity, as these are going to go very, very rapidly, okay? We're only going to have about 200 seats in that room. So everybody's going to have a fantastic seat, up close and personal, access to tens of thousands of dollars of information, and the tickets are going to be, now this is not a solicitation, I have to say that. This is not a solicitation because we cannot solicit anything on the grounds of Kaufman. So I'm asking you to help me promote this event. I'm not soliciting this event. Understood? Okay, say yes. Yes, okay. We need you to understand what's going to go on, what the cost is, so we can have you help us promote it. The tickets are going to be $69 probably on an early bird, and then maybe $99 at the door. That's what we're looking at, okay? But it's going to be around November 14th, and then the contest itself is the 15th and 16th. I'll talk to you guys later, okay? So make sure you have this. Get this on your calendar. We don't have tickets available for sale yet, right? Yes or no? Yes. Wow. We're up and running. Okay, I didn't know anything about that. Holy cow, we're so far ahead of the game. What's that? Yeah, I'm the leader. I'm not the one that actually does anything. Haven't you guys figured that out for corporate America already? Isn't that right? That's right. Okay. Well, anyway, because of our brilliance of Kurt McMillan, we now have tickets available on sale. And Kurt, I'll tell you what, I'm going to have you describe that and how that works really quickly, if you would. The ticket sales and where they go and how they do it.
If you go under speakers on the website.
And the website is what? Make48.com. Make48, numeric 48, make48.com. And once you're on there, you go to speakers?
Yes, go to speakers.
Okay.
And when you go to speakers, there'll be a button there. It'll say register now.
Okay, so under speakers, there will be another button that says register now, which I think Tracy's going to pull up. And of course, it's just for demonstrative purposes so you can understand how to promote this event to your friends. Okay.
Understood.
There it is. Okay. This is the actual speaking room, which is fantastic. You see, it's very, very broad. Everybody, there's not a bad seat in the place. Everything's going to be very, very close up to the front of the presentation and the program. But again, tickets are, they are $69. I do have that right, right? No. No? What are they? $90. Okay, period. Well, that changed in the last couple days. But anyway. I give everybody in this room confidence, don't I? You're going, if this guy can run this, I'm going to be the president of the United States someday. Okay.
Don't go there.
But no, I know. As soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, yeah, I shouldn't say that. But $90, this will be a fantastic event. Please help us promote this to your friends, relatives, and other business associates in the community. We are going from here to Classic Cup, which is a great restaurant, beautiful location, on a corner location. John, what's the actual address?
301 West 47th.
Okay, 301.
Right down 47th Street right here.
301 West 47th, and it's on the southwest corner.
47th and Center. $3 draws, $4 sangrias.
Fantastic. Okay. So we do need to get out of here because of our time constraint with Kaufman and commitment. But please put this event on your calendar. Please go out to make48.com, check it out, and let's really promote this thing strongly. Yes, Lloyd.
There's a $25 discount for individual sponsors.
Okay, $25 discount for individual sponsors. What somebody has to do to be an individual sponsor?
It's a $50 sponsorship to ICKC.
Okay, so if you made a contribution to ICKC just in support of this, which is a tax-deductible contribution, then that money, you get a $25 discount off of the $90 ticket price. Okay. Yes. Okay, also, too, please, help us police this and clean this up. We want Kaufman to still like us when we're done. Okay? So if you have a cup of coffee, anything that's with you, please make sure your space and the one next to you, if somebody left something sitting next to you and they left without picking it up, please just extend the courtesy of picking it up for them. But we thank you guys so much. That's all we got.